for help in the decisions that needs to be made. We just ask you, Lord, a special touch on these masters and the judge, that we can handle the business of this county that we feel like that you want to be. We thank you, Lord, so much for the Christian leadership that we have in Grayson, and we just ask you to continue to guide us. Keep us close to you, Lord, that we could hear everything you want to say, and give us the faith, Lord, to follow just where you would lead us. We thank you, Lord, for your love that we can experience every day, and we love you. Again, I'm so thankful for our fiscal court and what they represent in our county and how they've helped us so much. Continue to guide them, Lord, as they continue to do your will. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Brother Chester.
Thank you.
You want to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you.
Bye, Father.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Damon,
Second.
second by Neil, all in favor. Next we have approved the payment of the bills.
Motion.
Motion by Darren. Second by Damon, all in favor. Next we have approved treasurer's budget transfers as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Damon. Second by Kevin, all in favor. Next we have approved treasurer's monthly settlement.
Make that motion.
Motion by Neil.
Second.
Second by Damon, all in favor. Next we have approved jailer's payment of bills.
Motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Kevin, all in favor. Next we have approved jailer's monthly settlement.
Motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Darren, all in favor. Next we have approved jailer's budget transfers as presented, and there is none, so we do not need a motion on that. So we'll go on to number 8, which is approved sheriff's monthly settlement.
Motion.
Motion by Neil and second by Kevin, all in favor. All right, next we have to approve to declare lots 36, 37 of Evely Land Development on Lake Shore Road as surplus. What that is, there's 2 lots that's we had transferred to us because someone didn't want to pay the tax on it anymore. And it's landlocked. There's no way, there's no road that goes to it. It's not a county road, but it's already impassable because fell in. It's an old development, and somebody decided to subdivide it off a few years ago, and it just never took off. And we got these lots, I don't know, it's probably been 4 or 5 years ago, I guess, someone transferred these lots to us, and we don't need them, and somebody's come forward and said that they would be interested in purchasing them because they have more lots down there, which is not doing us a bit of good. And so I need motion to approve to declare these lots surplus.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Darren, second by Brian, all in favor. Now we need approval to sell with sealed bids, auction or sealed bids, which I would recommend probably sealed bids at the same properties.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Darren.
Second.
Second by Brian, all in favor. Next we have approved the VEI Communication System Sales Agreement. Also, what this is if you recall, whenever we got some of the funds back several months ago, about the 911, we had opened up the 911 account to upgrade the 911 system. And that's a radio system, the towers, there was, what do we have in there, Angel?
$899,000.
Like $800 and something thousand is what we actually had in there, in that account, just for this project. So we've already got the funds in there. They've started on this. It's taken a while. It's taken over a year and a half to get all this done. Myself and Jason and Brandy has met several times with several companies to give us bids and tell us what they was going to do, and we come to the conclusion the other day that this VEI Communications was the best best route to go, and Brandy recommended it, but she's the director over there at the 911 office. And it's they're basically redoing the entire system, the entire emergency system for the police, the fire, and the ambulances. The reason is they'd get into some locations in the county and they couldn't talk. I mean, you couldn't hear them. And Falls Rough, the fire department down there had a terrible time getting out. They could hear dispatch, but they couldn't hear them. And so there was multiple locations, Caneyville locations down south. There was quite a few locations. So anyway, that's going to eliminate a lot of this problem. So they're putting up different tire sites at different locations. And so anyway, if there's any questions or anything, I just need a motion to approve the sales agreement.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Kevin and second by Darren. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next we have, I also need to approve the first installment payment, which the first installment payment will be $445,679.85. That would be the first installment payment that would come out of that monies that we have already allotted for that.
That's for the system infrastructure itself.
Correct.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Damon. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, do we need to make a motion on this here?
You
On
do.
the
Using
50%?
Using ARPA funds.
Okay. That was right there, the one that we just approved, guys, is the one that we had for the radio system itself. The next one is, we'll need to, for the first installment is, when we had the tornado outbreaks back, I don't know,
December.
last year, December, I guess.
December 5th, something.
Of course, everybody's talked about, the tornado alley has shifted. It used to be Oklahoma, Missouri, Kansas, and all that, but now, unfortunately, we're in part of it. Kentucky is. So there's one in Caneyville, one in Litchfield. There's two more in there, Jason.
Clarkson, Big Lefty, or
No, I don't think Big Clifty has one.
Wax?
That's gonna be a new
I
one.
had that map just a few minutes ago, but
Yeah, I had that map laying on my desk, I'd show you, but we're actually putting in about 8 new ones.
Yeah.
And St. Paul didn't have anything, so if there was a bad storm, St. Paul School didn't even know nothing was going on.
Are they on the list to receive one?
They are,
Big Clifty also?
they are. Yeah, so,
They're gonna be all over the county.
Millerstown?
Anything done in my?
Millerstown, yes. Yeah, Yankton Community Center, I think, is that where it was at?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Good.
we had them go out and give us the areas that they probably need to be located at. Now, understand, if you're inside a brick house and it's well insulated, you're probably not gonna hear that siren. But if you're anywhere remotely outside or anything, you're probably gonna hear it. And there's gonna be some locations that we can't, that people don't hear them, but, I thought what better thing that you could spend some of these funds on that, for public safety and for these tornado sirens, early warning detection of, some of these tornadoes and severe storms and stuff.
Because we can't use them on roads.
Right,
I want.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah, so there are certain things that we can use stuff for and there's certain things that we can't use stuff for, and unfortunately, those ARPA funds are one of the things that you can't, so. The first installment, it's paid in, it's gonna be $200,000 to install those units. He's got that map here. We just had that meeting this morning. You got one Big Clifty, one St. Paul, Millerstown, Yankton, Falls Rough. Where's that new one at there onto the left-hand side of the,
Look at the last page, I think Kevin's got it actually on the map with the,
it's one at the high school, Caneyville
Well,
Fire
somebody had
Department.
one.
No, his is different.
No, we've got one at Wax too.
What's that last page? Now, you got the geographical map,
Might have, yeah.
Same.
very last page. Yours is different.
This one here.
Well, you're one of them, yeah. Might help you
It's
tell
right
me
out
where it's at.
red area.
Trying to see where that one's at. I think that's on, down at Duff, at the water
The
tower.
water tower Duff gets
Pass
one.
it.
Yeah. You can pass that around. That's where where those red dots are at is where they're gonna be located at. Litchfield Fire Department Training Center, that's the one out 259 North. Netta Firehouse. Wax.
That might help me get a
Where
grant.
I think-
Generator.
One at
Miller's
And
Town,
then
are
they
they
try
gonna
to
get
get
one
one.
on top of the
Yeah,
hill?
probably will.
I'm sure it
Because
will
they
be.
depend on electric to run those.
Yeah.
And the reason they're putting.
They went out and
Because of-
sort of done the placement themselves of where they thought they could be, better heard, so they tried to put them. And a lot of them, they're putting on some of the water towers where some of the radio equipment already is. I mean, I don't know everywhere where it's at, but most of them are on,
And two, with the upgrades on the radio system, all those tower sites will be generated after we're finished. Some of them already are, but they'll all be generated.
yeah, they'll all have generator systems hooked up to them. That way, if the power goes down, well, they've still
Well,
got.
that's what I was getting ready to send something to him about. I said, might be able to get a grant for you and get a generator there, because I know it's the reason one reason they're choosing right there is because of accessible to electric,
Right.
So I was thinking maybe we've been wanting to get
Yeah,
one.
there's one at Duff on the water tower, on the Grayson County Water District water tower, is where another one would be at. Edmonson County Water District, Nolan Lake Estates, on that water tower, is where the one is at Wax.
I think that's designated shelter there too. the county.
Because, I mean, that thing, that's up on a hill, pretty good. Mount Moriah Road, Millerstown.
Fairgrounds.
Man, it's the top of the hill. I didn't know it went slow.
Caney Creek Road,
Mount Zion Road?
Mount Moriah,
I thought,
probably there at the boating house.
That's for the.
Okay, well, you said
Millerstown
Millerstown, yeah,
Boating
okay,
House.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He said at the top of the hill, I couldn't
Well,
figure.
that would be a higher level than, but
Yeah.
Millerstown falls up over the hill there. That's gonna be kind of a dead area. Of course, Wax, it goes up that way, elevation does.
Yeah, they'll get these done fairly quickly. I mean, so we're gonna be able to, and you can get, with people that, your constituents and ask them whenever they test these things, of course, it'll,
Well, the big thing is like he was talking about originally on the map was to get somewhere that had power.
yeah.
Does that have power?
Yeah, we've gotta put them someplace that's got power, and then plus it's gonna have to be generated power too. And so that's why a lot of them's going like at some of the fire departments and the water towers and that type of stuff. And some of the places are already, got generated power, so. That's one reason why they chose those locations too. But they said we can add some if we need to. And we probably will. We probably have to.
Well, anywhere would be a benefit, I'm sure.
Yeah, but, I mean, this is better than what we have, so. So the first installment is $100,450. So I need to
What's the total
approve,
amount? Yeah.
200,900. Yeah, it'll be another half after the system's complete.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Darren, second by Damon, all in favor. All righty. Let's see, what's next? Accept Extension Office Board nominations. Y'all got a copy of those? Y'all got any questions?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brian,
Second.
second by Neil, all in favor. Next, we have approved clerk's revised 2022 budget. I should have got all that. If there's any questions, I don't know if
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Neil, all in favor? Next, we have the first reading of the alcohol beverage control ordinance.
Okay, so I previewed this, I think, maybe about a month ago. The general basis for needing this ordinance is that we're required to have it. Because we had votes to allow alcohol by the drink in Falls of Rough at the state park at a prior election, which I think was probably a few years ago. And I actually went back and had to look at the wording of the vote, and
When was that vote? Was both of them in 2020?
the
think
park.
so, no,
the
the
Falls of Rough was
Falls of Rough
prior.
was,
When Litchfield went
Earlier.
earlier.
Yeah.
it's probably been
So
4
more-
years ago, I'd
whatever you
say.
call it.
It was,
2018?
it was
I'd
like,
say so.
I think it was when Governor Bailey got elected.
Falls of Rough?
It's been a while.
That election, I believe it's been that long.
It's been a while for Falls of Rough.
Because it's not been since I've been in. And
Well, I thought.
it was,
Well, that's been 20, that was
Yeah, it's been a while.
it's been
for Falls
6
of
years.
2016
I think so.
I'd say that's right.
presidential, I believe it was during the presidential election. Yeah. So that's Falls Rough, but now we know Wax was also put on the ballot for 2020, right?
The fifth district,
Yeah.
they didn't make it.
Yeah.
They voted on
It was just Rock Creek, right?
Right, this
Right.
is Rock Creek.
That's what I thought.
And so, and the Falls of Rough is just at the state park. So that question was, are you in favor of alcohol by the drink at Falls of Rough at the state park?
Okay.
And so I would say that's how come this issue hadn't really come up, because with the state alcohol beverage, the ABC, I'm sure they have monitored them, but as we get Rock Creek, we started getting questions, I mean, honestly, probably about a year ago, but it's taken a while to get to this point. And so, alcohol by the drink, this ordinance, at different times, kind of in some of the general, well, let me read a couple of the clauses, and then I'll start picking out some of the highlights of it. But an ordinance to the County of Grayson County adopting with amendments found herein the following set of regulations, requirements for alcohol beverage control hereinafter be known as County of Grayson Alcoholic Beverage Control Ordinance, and further adopting all applicable and required KRS, but not limited to KRS chapters 241 through 244, as recently updated by the General Assembly and administrative agencies. Whereas the County of Grayson, by and through a majority of registered voters in the Rock Creek voting district, permits the presence of alcohol and sales of alcohol by the drink within the district of Rock Creek at restaurants and dining facilities in the County of Grayson, so long as such is done in accordance with all applicable local, state, and federal law, including this ordinance. Whereas the County of Grayson, by and through a majority of registered voters in the Falls of Rough voting district, permits the presence of alcohol and sales of alcohol by the drink within the district of Falls of Rough at the state park in the County of Grayson, so long as done in accordance with all applicable local, state, and federal law, including this ordinance. You move down, the purpose of this ordinance is to establish uniform regulations and requirements for the licensing and regulation of alcoholic beverage manufacture and sales pursuant to authorization of KRS chapter 241, 244. Nothing was voted in to say that you can manufacture alcohol here in the county, but that is language that is included generally as this, we're gonna have to amend this if another district opens up, or if the law, if there's another vote, we're gonna have to amend it to add another district, or if there's a vote on, the distribution, things like that. So if you see language that says manufacturer or distribution, this just covers the regulation of by the drink at this point. Page 2, the numbers are at the top of the page. 2A, county license. There's a restaurant license, it's $1,400 a year for those who apply and go through all the process of getting approved. That's a county license cost, does not include state fees or anything like that. That's set by the statute. And this also does not include anything within the city of Litchfield. The city of Litchfield has their own ABC administrator, which we'll have a county administrator here we'll talk about in a minute. But basically, anything in Litchfield is off limits to us because they are a corporation. They have been incorporated as a city, and they already have all these regulations in effect, and they have their own taxes, or not taxes, but license fee. On page 3, 5% of gross sales of all alcoholic beverages sold by the drink in the county will be put into this separate fund for the administration and monitoring and inspection that the county officer will do, called the Alcoholic Beverage Control Administrator. Section 5 on that page 3 is where it's to be deposited in an appropriate designated account. We can only use that money for certain things, and that's the enforcement of this or the safety of the community concerning this alcohol. At this point, we're not talking about a huge industry of sales of alcohol by the drink out there, but in the future, if more come on, it may be. Let's see, down at the bottom of page 3, the county judge executive shall serve as the county alcoholic beverage control administrator unless the Grayson County judge executive shall appoint someone else to fill the position. And I believe that Kevin already mentioned before that Tony Willen is going to serve in that role. And so if this passed the second reading and is enacted, then he would be the person that would monitor that until the judge executive decided to remove him or change or transfer. The powers of the administrator is that they have full police powers of law enforcement, specifically towards this matter. I have jurisdiction of that portion of the county which lies outside the corporate limits of any city that has appointed its own city ABC administrator, so outside of Litchfield. They have the right to inspect all books and records, to inspect the location, to require certain documents to prove that the people are paying in their 3%, or their, 5% as they're supposed to. Page 5, before any location in these areas are allowed to apply for a license, they must advertise their intention in a newspaper, meeting the requirements of the KRS Chapter 424. Let's see. Also, for a license to be granted, the place of the business has to be approved, structurally approved by a licensed building inspector, and any all other inspections required by Kentucky Building Code or applicable law before they get their license. This talks about renewal license, lost license. The administrator can revoke or suspend the license if rules aren't followed. Page 9 is the proceeding for that. Refusal license. Number 11, the hours of sale, 6 a.m. So 6 in the morning to midnight, Monday through Saturday. No sales shall occur on Sunday. That's pretty common practice. Sunday sales can occur if you all choose to make that part of the ordinance. I just went for default at this point. No gambling. Page 12, they are responsible for the security. No giveaways, no prizes, no drunkenness, no underage sales. License to be delayed. They can't employ anyone that's been convicted of felony within the past 2 years, or anybody that has twice been convicted of selling intoxicating liquors to, twice convicted of misdemeanor or offense directly or indirectly attributable to the use of intoxicating liquors. I don't know what that means. No nudity in adult entertainment. Talks about the sale of minors. Enforcement, Grayson County Sheriff Department officers and the county ABC administrator, and his or her investigators, if he appoints any, are hereby authorized to enforce this ordinance in full. Page 15, A2, 1, there can be civil fines, the license can be pulled, and also they can be charged with a misdemeanor with a fine of $100 up to $500 or imprisoned for up to 6 months. And that is the ordinance.
Any questions, anybody? Need a motion to go ahead and approve the ordinance as read, unless anybody's got any questions or objects to anything in the ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve it as you've got it written.
Motion by Brian,
Second it.
second by Darren, all in favor? Any opposed?
Nay.
Good. Tom? All right, next we got the, first reading of the dog on private property and others ordinance.
Okay, you have this copy before you. It's short enough that I will read most of it in summary. An ordinance relating to dogs on private property of others. Fiscal Court of Grayson County is enacting this ordinance to address the issue of an uncontrolled danger and or nuisance to persons trying to enjoy the use of their own property. Fiscal Court intends this ordinance to provide for the health, safety, and welfare of the general public. Now therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of Grayson County, Kentucky as follows. Definitions. For the purpose of this ordinance, the following words have been meanings respectfully ascribed to them in section, except where the context clearly indicates different meaning. A, dog means a domestic canine. B, owner means any person or the legal guardian of a person who owns, possesses, or otherwise provides food, water, or shelter to the dog in question. C, prohibited property means the private property of another. Section 2, trespassing dogs. This is the real ordinance. No owner of a dog shall fail to exercise proper care and control of his or her dog in such a manner which thereby allows the dog to enter onto a prohibited property, aka the private property of another, under C. It's a violation of this ordinance for an owner of a dog to fail to exercise proper care and control of his or her dog, thus allowing said dog to enter onto prohibited property. Penalty below is $100 to $250, and restitution for the amount of the county having to pay for the shelter if the dog is seized by animal control and stored, and for any restitution, any damage done to the victim's property. So, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about ordinances with the aggressive dogs. Basically, this is a little different than that. One, with the aggressive dogs, they had to be on your property and be aggressive towards you. This covers kind of a broader field of the nuisance of other people's dogs being on your property. This would go, you know, the capability of officers being able to enforce this is not really something that I anticipate. It would be more just like the other dog ordinances that we put into effect, that if someone has a complaint and if they come to the county attorney's office and they have proof that someone's had a dog let loose onto their property, such as video or camera, photos, then we can send a letter or we can pursue with this just finable offense. The reason that this kind of came up is because we had a lot of trouble with Mr. King trying to enjoy his hunting property, and we had neighbors that would let the dogs out, just roam free, and they would run onto his property and run off his game. And it's been an issue other places as well. So that's pretty much what it is, so.
Make the motion. Second reading of the dog ordinance.
I think it's first reading. Yeah, first reading. Motion by Darren for the first reading of the dog ordinance. Motion by Darren.
Second.
Second by Kevin, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. Moving right along. Update for fiscal court committees, we did earlier, everything's just be in good order here. Other new business is approve other bill lists. It's late here, you all got a copy of that on the back side, I think, so I need a motion for that.
Make that motion.
Alright, motion by Darren,
Second.
second by Neil, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have other new business. Jason?
Yeah, I got a couple of things to ask about. First, we advertised for bids about a month and a half ago for vans. I asked for 2 vans, and we only got a bid for 1 van from one entity. And we made that purchase. You guys approved that. We made that purchase. So since then, we've been able to locate another van, but we still have to go through the bid process again. I've checked with the auditors to make sure we had 2, since we asked for 2 the first time, and he did confirm that we had to do that. So I'm asking again tonight to allow me to bid another van for us to purchase, if we can make it work out. And if they'll hold it for us, I think they will, but still has to be bid either way. But first, we gotta advertise for it.
Second it.
Motion by Kevin, second by Darren, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, thank you. And then, I need to purchase 2 more road crew trucks. Those are done on government contract, and they're also, the money comes out of the commissary fund account. So don't technically have to have approval for it, but I always do it anyway. So those 2 trucks are 2023 Ford F-250 Super Cab XLs with utility service beds. They will be $59,320 each, for a total of $118,640. And that is government contract. It's about almost $20,000 more than the 2021s we bought last time.
Diesel or gas?
Gas.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Neil to purchase the 2 new trucks for the jail, and second by Darren, all in favor?
Aye.
And then last, I have 1 bid on the training building project that you guys approved a couple of months ago for us to advertise. It took me a little while to get it advertised because we had to get some specs together for what we were actually looking for, and I'm not real familiar with those type buildings, so I had to have a little help with that. But we did advertise it. It closed out today, and that's the only bid we got.
All right, the bid is for Southern Builders LLP. All right, steel building package, 50 by 150 by 22, to include pitch roof, roof insulation, wall insulation, gutters, downspouts, both sides, clear span, gavel loom roof, framed openings to be determined, man door to be determined, garage doors by others if applicable. 7'6" double door, 7'3" single door. With the concrete package, foundation slab, anchor bolts, piers, foundation drawings, pricing will be determined upon receipt of structural drawing. The engineer will need these for his columns for the building loads. Total price for the concrete, the building, and the labor, all right, he's got, just to clarify, he's got 357, 777, 60, but he's got sales tax on it. So you take the sales tax off, it's 348, 210. $348,210. So we can accept or reject the bid, and I think we'll take Jason's recommendation, because he's dealt with this for a while, so.
I'm not real familiar with, I thought maybe Tommy might be here tonight, but I'm not real familiar with that type of work.
Darren, you all pass that around.
But that's the only bid we got. That's the area I thought we would probably be in price wise.
How much is that a square foot?
You got what the size of the building, 150 by?
50 by 150.
Need to Brian look at it.
That's a tall building, 22 foot.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I was wondering why it costs so much, but that height on it, I guess, the concrete.
That's
have
75 square feet,
You need to see it.
just on the main floor. But it's tall enough to have 2 floors which I think you're gonna have, right?
Yeah, but we're gonna do all that work ourselves.
Yeah. It'll be 2-story.
Part of it was.
The training part.
So it'll be, just to get a picture in your mind, kind of what I was looking at was something similar to the Church of Joy's building. I don't know if you've been in it or not, but half of it is just an open floor style, and then the other half is classroom or whatever you want to call it. We're going to do it similar to that, but we'll do all that work ourselves. And then the open part of it will be open to the public to use, kind of like we do our pavilion. So at no cost to the citizens. So that's the plan.
And that Southern Builders of Kentucky LLP is the Litchfield address, so.
That include the excavation? I didn't see that on there. Is that?
It doesn't, because we were going to try to do that ourselves
Brandon
with the county road department check. We might have to rent a piece of
Probably don't
equipment.
need much, does it?
No, it's pretty level anyway.
I've seen
I mean, that's a tall building, I mean, you ain't gonna get it cheap.
Well, it's only bid we got.
Big old slab.
I knew I've seen that before, yeah. Training building.
We could probably do the building ourselves, but that's a pretty good
That's a
feat
big
for
job.
us. It's a big job, yeah. We would have to do pole barn style.
Can they do these buildings over there?
It's a little dangerous to have guys up that high.
Yeah.
I'd rather use somebody that knows what they're doing.
He knows what he's done, he's done these
He's
lots.
done those.
Okay.
Way down, he's over here.
There's no bonds or anything.
No bonds or
involved with
Yeah, he's
this.
on bypass.
We'll just be
Paying this
paying
out of
for
the
it.
jail
Oh,
funds.
did he?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to do this.
Motion by Kevin, second by Brian, all in favor?
Thank you, guys, that's it.
Brian, let me have that back. I gotta have that.
Yeah, I'll need a copy of it.
I'm gonna leave that right there. All right, other new business. Kevin?
No.
Darren?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Dane?
No, sir.
No. Mr. Kenny, welcome.
Thank you.
Kenny's decided to join us today, and we've recently had someone leave the road department, and they've talked to quite a few gentlemen and people and on hiring, and I think he wants to address you all on the process. Of course, I've told them in the past, I mean, I don't get involved in their hiring process, and simply because I don't necessarily work with those folks every day, and I think it's a whole lot better if they do the interviewing, except me. I mean, I could interview them and tell them who I thought was good, but they're the ones that work with them. So I think it's better for them to do the interviewing, so. Kenny, if you don't care, tell us what you come up with and what you need and all that type of stuff.
Okay, we, like Kevin said, we had a guy to leave about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so that one man short. We've got another guy that's retiring at the end of the year, so we went to looking and we interviewed a couple and we found Ron Frank is his name. He is a Class A CDL driver and has some operating skills. So we wanted to see if we could get the court to allow us to hire that man to fill that position.
I know him. He's a good man, good person.
I know him also. He worked for me several years ago. He's a good guy, and I'd like to make the motion to hire him.
Motion by Damon to
I'll
hire,
second it.
and Darren second, all in favor.
I
All
won't
right.
mind any better.
Kenny, why I got you here, I know I'm putting you on the spot, and you didn't think you was gonna have to talk about this, but that's just part of the
That'd be all
pressure.
right.
Curious,
It's
stand
part
up.
of the pressure.
Yeah.
You all passed a couple meetings ago about buying some equipment. We bought the tractors with the mowers, and they're quite expensive, but I mean, they go and look at other equipment and what can help us and what be beneficial and more cost effective for us and more timely. We look at different things and they go look at different things, and we got those mowers, but we've been looking for some trucks too, for pickup trucks for one, and some dump trucks. So would you tell them what's going on, like with the equipment, with the trucks, and what's going on with it? That way they're sort of up to date. And
Yeah. We like Kevin said, we've been looking for trucks, dump trucks, extremely hard to find.
which you can't find.
If you do find them, they're the used ones are used, but they've got a new price. New ones you can't even get. We are down to 2 tandems, which are the 2 new Kenworths we bought 2 years ago.
3, yeah, it was 3 years ago.
And
You
we
all-
had
y'all
2
passed.
single axles, which one of them is a really good truck. The other one is an older model truck that we're just almost afraid to put out on the road much. So we've spoke with Kevin and a couple of the magistrates. We are in the process of looking, but we are in dire need of especially another tandem, because we can do so much with the tandem that you can't do with.
Which would replace
We need a single axle
the
also.
single axle.
Have you looked for a triaxle? Because they're so much popular now.
We have, the only problem that we see with the triaxle is a lot of our small county roads, they're just, and it's just, a tandem really works best for us. Some of the new trucks that we've looked at, we're talking about the end of next year, the end of 2023, to even find a new truck. Triaxle or tandem. But the tandem works best for us because of the road, some of the roads being small and hard to turn around, this and that. A lot of our lakes and stuff, we've got the power lines we have to deal with and so forth. And once you get into those triaxles, you're getting into 16-foot beds and so forth, and we have to worry about, going under the power lines and stuff like that. So it makes it a little more difficult.
I went over and spoke with Jeff the other day, and was it yesterday I was over there, or day before yesterday? Day before yesterday. We bought those Kenworth trucks. This is what's sad. We bought those 2 Kenworth trucks for $137,000 a piece. That's with the bed. Do you know they're $216,000 now? No. Same truck, same bed. $216,000.
The bed has doubled since we bought those trucks. The beds alone have doubled in
I know.
price.
The truck I bought 5 years ago is worth more now than it was when I bought it.
And the problem they're finding is if we could buy a new one, with your all's approval, we could buy a new one, but we're looking at 2024. before it arrives, and the used ones that we found, what was it, Freightliners, it was in Texas or something?
Mm-hmm.
And $150,000,
$154,000.
$150,000, $180,000, and they got 30,000, 40,000 miles on it. So, which I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with that, because, you know, I spoke with Angel about it after we talked, but I mean, and the new ones are $200,000. So, I mean, but, you know, can you wait, you know, a year and a half? So, but, since he was here, I wanted just to give you all an update on it. Jeff's been looking, and we're running the same thing with pickup trucks, like for the salt trucks and stuff. We normally try to buy used trucks. You know, the used 2500 HDs for the salt and for
We
the.
should buy that new one that right day.
But now the problem you have now is you can't find them.
No.
And then there's just as much as a new one on state contract, when you do find it. So we're gonna have to cross a bridge shortly, on getting a couple of those 2500s, and I don't know that we probably switch to Dodge, because I think Dodge has got a cheaper contract on a 2500 truck, or was it 3500 we was looking at? It was a ton. It was a ton,
Yeah.
Single wheel, 3,500, single wheel.
Yeah, yeah, so we'll end up having to cross a bridge on that, whether or not we think it's feasible to just go ahead and buy something new when you can buy it for $15,000 more, and you can buy a new one that's got, or a used one that's got 100,000 miles on it. So, I just wanted to let you, and am I talking right, Kenny? Is that what you're all looking at?
Yeah, and like I say, we look often. Jeff has done a good job about searching, and we have even broadened our search to down into Texas and places like that, just to see if we can find something. But yeah, it's going to come down to where we're going to have to make. I mean, if we can find something,
No trouble to find the bed, just a truck.
Well,
sometimes you run into a situation where if your dealer has already made an agreement with another company for beds and so forth, we had an option of maybe a triaxle. We looked into buying just the truck and putting a bed on it from the company that had put the beds on our tandems, or Kenworths. But it was a package deal.
they
You
won't
couldn't
let
separate.
you, they won't let you do
You know,
that.
so,
They won't let you buy just the chassis.
and with Kenworth and Peterbilt, you can just forget. I mean,
Oh, I know.
Oh, they're out.
you can't, Kenworth won't even allow them to price us a truck because they're so far out.
And they're talking, I talked to a guy that orders Peterbilt trucks a lot today, and they said that they're gonna have another price increase in February of 16%.
I don't think that's gonna last long with this election that was held in the midterms and this interest going up like it's got. I don't see how they can keep going up.
I don't either.
But it is what it is. We can't.
So, and the only thing they're doing is passing along cost. I mean, that's all they're doing is passing along cost, so. But, I just wanted, since Kenny was here and was asking about you know, the employment, I thought, well, it'd be a good time to give you all a little update. I mean, everything else is in pretty good shape over there, you think?
Yeah, our equipment and so forth is good shape. It's just the issues with trucks. You know, like I say, we've got 2 single axles, but one of them is really bad shape. And so that puts us to 1 single axle and 2 tandems right now.
You can get by with one new tandem if you had it.
Yeah, if we could find a tandem, we could do the work of the single axle with that tandem. But in reverse, you can't do the
We've
work
got
of the single
one
axle.
good single axle truck,
Yes.
and we lucked into it. It was bought about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years ago. And of course, it was under the limit because we got it from the state, so we didn't have to run it through court. And it was a flatbed truck, chassis. And they had a tanker on it, and they sprayed or something with it, didn't they?
Yeah. Didn't have hardly any
That
miles.
thing had like 14,000 miles on it,
Yeah.
and it looked brand new. And so we took the bed off, Kenny and them took the bed off and then took it and then had a dump bed put on it. That's the single axle he's talking about, that's in such good
And it's
shape.
a really good truck. We
Yeah.
pull a little excavator with
But
it.
the other one was also purchased from the state. That's one of the last dump trucks that we've got left that's been here a while. And it was a plow truck for the state and it's got a lot of rust issues.
Yeah, the cab mounts and stuff are starting to give, and the cab is settling on the frame.
So they don't drive it much unless they have to pull like backhoe or
Just
something.
if we have to,
And I was out there and it settled a lot.
yeah.
So I just want to give you all an update on what was going on, so that way you wouldn't think, you know, we come in here and ask for another truck, you'd think, well, you know, they're, you know, buying a lot of stuff. Well, you know, we want to keep them safe too, and we want to make sure we've got the equipment to work with, so.
Right.
Kitty and I were talking about hiring. He was talking about hiring folks that already have a CDL.
Mhm.
And he said used to, the county could train them, help them get their CDL, but now they have to go through a school.
Yep.
He says like $5,000.
Mhm.
Well, I told him maybe to make it more attractive to younger people, maybe the county, because I know if you spend the $5,000 and then they quit 6 months, you know, then you're out of money. But maybe in the future, hire somebody, pay the money for the school, have them sign a contract to where if they leave within 2 years, they have to pay the $5,000 back. Because I know a lot of businesses are doing that now. I don't know if the county could do that, but that would make it more attractive to a younger person who maybe couldn't come up with $5,000.
Yeah, that's something we can look into, because I'm sure some other counties has run into it as hard as it's to find people to have their CDLs this day and time, so. But yeah, it's something we can look into, because even in police work, whenever people would send, like if you went through the academy, through Litchfield, and then you signed a 5-year contract, if you left within the 5 years, you had to pay back, say you went to work at Brownsville had to pay what was left on the
Yeah, I've seen
contract.
a lot of businesses do that.
Yeah.
The hospital does that with new nurses.
Mhm.
A lot of different places do that. So that might be something you can look at in the future.
Yeah, we
Because
don't-
I know some people that have expressed interest in going to work for the county, but they don't have the, you know, and of course
Yeah,
the,
it's tough to get them now. I mean, you've got to go through that school, and I think, somebody had said it was longer than a week, but I think there's a couple courses that you can actually take that, somebody said something in Mayfield, maybe you go to Mayfield?
They
or
stopped
something?
it
Did they?
because of the tornado down there. I tried to get my son in down there.
So it was like one day, wasn't it?
No, it was 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
But it was, yeah, it's not available. I'm trying desperately to get him in something now, just to finish up.
Yeah.
You know, we need a truck to.
we were just talking about that, so I thought maybe it'd be something.
Yeah, it'd be something we could look into. We could ask Angel to talk to some of the other counties, some of the other treasurers, and see what they do, see how they do some of their stuff. Because I'm sure a lot of the other counties are having issues too,
Yeah.
you know, so. But, anything, all right. Anything else, Kenny, you can think of?
I don't know.
All right, old business.
Nothing.
No, sir.
Motion to adjourn. Jeff, you want to say anything?
I'm good. Thank you for y'all's help though on the ordinance. I'm glad
Okay.
we're finally getting to it. So,
You got any deer hunting done?
oh yeah,
Have you?
I'm done.
Did you get one?
Yeah.
Did you? All right, gonna do a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Darren,
Second.
second, who's second?
Appreciate it.